What's going on, Geminites? It's your boy Gem Mint. I recently did a top 10 ongoing comics that are happening right now. So this is going to be the opposite end of that. These are going to be all the comic book titles that I recently dropped. I was going to do dropped in 2020, but really this is just everything that I dropped since I started reading single issues again, which had to be maybe late 2019. So we're going to jump into this list. Before we get started, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you're still subscribed. Make sure the notification bell is turned on with notifications on. We do a lot of live shows. We do a lot of impromptu videos as well as everyday content that we drop at 11 a.m. Eastern. A lot of people hit me up saying they never got notified, so make sure. With that being said, let's jump into the list. I'm not sure how many issues this went. It might have only went 4 issues. I think this is Kelly Thompson, Nadler, McCrae, and Spicer with Yondu. I picked up 3 issues of Yondu. I was giving it a shot. I kind of liked some things about it, but then I ended up just saying, man, forget this. I stopped reading Yondu. I just didn't care enough about the character and about the story with the whole, I don't know, other race. Someone from Yondu's race was like the good version, and he's like the bad seed, bad apple. I don't know. Anyway, the first book, Yondu. All right, next up we have Mark Waid on Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme. Say that 5 times fast. You got Kev Walker and Hava Targalia on here. I gave it 3 issues too, man. You know, I gave it a little bit. I just really wasn't interested in the premise. I guess Stephen Strange was back to being a surgeon primarily, but then he was attacked by like the Wrecking Crew, Absorbing Man, but they had like mythical weapons or something. I don't know. When you're reading so many titles, sometimes you just got to cut some loose so that you're able to get through them all for the review. So this one didn't make the cut. Next up, man, I guess a lot of people dropped this so much to where it got canceled. This Iron Man 2020, this is Dan Slott, Gage, and Woods. So I gave it a shot, man. I just don't like the whole Arno Stark thing. I didn't like the design for Iron Man, just like everyone else. I even gave a shot on Machine Man, Rescue, and Force Works. And to me, the story was just too boring. This whole kind of robot rebellion going against the humans, going against Tony Stark. I don't know. It just wasn't interesting. Dropped Iron Man 2020. All right, next one. I'm seeing a trend here. I usually give these things about 3 issues before I drop them. So this was Heart Attack. This was an indie book, Skybound Image by Sean Kittleson, Eric Zawadzki, Michael Garland. I mean, it's a pretty cool premise. It's kind of like a realistic take on if you got mutant powers, but and more in a real world kind of a thing. Anyway, they have these mutant powers. I just kind of felt like I didn't really connect with the characters. The girl could have been anywhere from 12 to 35, like the way she behaved and looked. I really didn't get it. The kind of double crossing, the kid being a snitch and all that. I don't know. I just wasn't really digging it, so I dropped Heart Attack. Yo, Undiscovered Country. So I stopped reading it in singles, and then I started reading it digitally. But I think I'm going to be done with it, man. This is a Scott Snyder. He's also got, Soul, Kamikoli, Orlandini, Wilson, and Crank. The thing is, I just don't care about the characters, and they're very forgettable to me. I mean, the concept, I guess, is cool. 30 years in the future, America closes its borders. There's this virus that's affecting the rest of the world, so now they're trying to get into America to, I guess they have the cure, but there's kind of weird stuff going on in America, and it's kind of like, I don't know, it's just weird stuff, man. It's a little bit confusing, not interesting. I read too much stuff to kind of keep pushing through, so Undiscovered Country. That's going to be an unpopular opinion that I dropped that. Here's one that, I don't know if I gave this one a fair shake, man. Last God, this is on DC Black Label. This is Philip Kennedy Johnson, Riccardo Federici, and Sonny Go with Dean White. I just felt like it was a little bit too much. You're doing too much. They try to give a lot of backstory in this world. I think the last couple of pages are even like all the history on all the different factions and all the different history within this universe. I don't know. It just didn't really grab me. I kind of felt like Game of Thrones-ish, but I wasn't digging Last God. I don't really hear anybody talk about Last God either. So a couple of these, it's not really that I dropped them. So Marvel sends us some preview copies, or at least they used to before the quarantine. I don't know. They're not really back to normal yet. But Spider-Woman, I gave it a shot. I'm digging this variant, though, for sure. But this story was not interesting to me. This is not something that I would continue to read. Spider-Woman feeling a little out of character. I've seen videos on this issue, but the way that she kind of crashes this rich Sweet 16 on a yacht kind of thing and like throws the little kid in the ocean. I don't know. It just seemed like a weird run, man. But I'm not going to continue to read Spider-Woman. Who is this by? Pacheco, Perez, Sequeira, Jr., and D. Armada. But I'm keeping this for sure, man. A variant is tight. Deadpool by Kelly Thompson. No, not digging it. The Monster King storyline. Some people tell me that they're still reading Deadpool. Like in the video that I did for the top 10 right now, some people put Deadpool in their top 10. So maybe I sold myself short on dropping this after the first issue. Let me know in the comments. I'm sure you would anyway. One that I finally dropped, which was really hard for me, man. I'm a Spider-Man guy. I dropped Nick Spencer's Spider-Man. So what happened here was that our boy Chad Fisser, he's one of our moderators, sent me issues like 1 through 25 or something, and I read like the first couple of arcs. Once it got to the Kraven stuff, I stopped reading it, and then I started reading it again during Absolute Carnage, then 2099, and then just the aftermath of that. This is Nick Spencer with Gleason and Wilson. I'm just not digging where Spider-Man's at right now. This whole being roommates with Boomerang thing. I don't know. I'm just not digging it at all. It's kind of very lighthearted, and I'm just not interested in it. So I dropped Spider-Man. Holler at me when they have a new creative team or they go in a new direction. All right, I think this is one that you guys are going to tell me I messed up. And look, also a 3-issue try. Suicide Squad, man. This is by Taylor, Rendano, and Lucas. You know, I just don't like comic book Harley nowadays. I like animated series Harley. I like, I don't know, video game Harley. But comic book Harley, I just never could really get into. And the Suicide Squad, I don't know. The first issue was pretty good, but then I just lost interest. But this was another one that was on people's top 10. So let me know, did I make a mistake dropping Suicide Squad? I think a lot of you guys are going to say yes. All right, and the next one, Metal Men. This is a 12-issue maxi series that I gave up on around issue 5 here. You know, I was digging it at first. I like the Metal Men. I like how it tied in with the Nth Metal. I like how it's kind of reviving this old franchise. But after 5 issues, I was just so sick of Metal Men. It should have been a 6-issue series, and I think that was my complaint the last time I read an issue and did a review on it. Metal Men is by DiDio. Is that Dan DiDio? Davis, DeLucky, and Wright. Yeah, by Dan DiDio. Well, that's awkward. I wonder, did they finish this maxi series, or what happened with that? Then the last one is Legion of the Superheroes. This is by Brian Michael Bendis. Who else is on this book? Sook, Van Grabadger, and Belair. You know, this was one that, you know, it was a little bit promising. I kind of like the Jonathan Kent going into the future thing. The future's all jacked up. I think he scoops up, is it Damian, or he scoops up a Robin, brings him back with him. But after 3 issues, it was just one of those things where I was like, all right, I had enough. I just tapped out. So that's it, guys. Those are the titles that I dropped since getting back into comics. Let me know which titles you've dropped how about since 2020? What titles have you dropped in 2020, excluding quarantine making it so that you weren't able to get books? Which one of these should I heavily consider getting back into? And yeah, sound off in the comments below. Make sure you guys are still subscribed to the channel. Hit the gem on the left to make sure. Hit the playlist on the right for more comic book content. We appreciate you watching. Stay minty fresh. Peace.